was a place that my mother had been telling me about since I was 5 years old. Now, I didn't go to Hampton as a student, but the students were on the campus and everything else. I saw how they lived and everything else, and I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it more so than I did Virginia Union, because at least you were on a campus and in a campus environment. And that was the one thing I never could get used to, and that was going home every night and getting up the next morning carrying those damn newspapers. But in any event, went down to Hampton. Stayed down in Hampton for 4 months, graduated from Hampton, and unfortunately I was one of the lower rated guys there. I guess somebody told me I wasn't much of an engineer, so what difference that made? I didn't want to be an engineer anyway. But in any event, I was sent to San Diego as my first duty station. And to be perfectly honest with you, despite the fact that San Diego was also segregated, we lived on a base. I lived in a hut with 7 other people, and I was the only guy who couldn't stand up in the hut, because the hut was only about, it must have been built for 5-foot guys, not for 6-foot people. But you could walk in after you got in here. You couldn't stand up, but you could get on your bed and go to sleep, you know. But I stayed there for a couple of months, and I understood one day that a guy was coming around to pick people to be mess cooks. I said, oh, Christ, I've been running away from that for years, mess cooking. Let me see. So I started thinking about it. And when he came by and started offering us a chance to be mess cooks, I said, don't you have another job there, like compartment cleaning? I've heard about that. I said, I can compartment clean. He said, oh, yeah. You going to volunteer for? Yes, I'll volunteer for compartment cleaning. So he took me off the mess cook list, put somebody else in my place, and I went down to clean compartments. Now, cleaning compartment meant that every day I got up and I'd put on my clothes and go outside, and after breakfast I'd come back down to the compartments and I'd pick up cigarette butts and do other odd jobs around there. And
when you say compartments, what kind of compartments are we talking about?
The little huts. Mm-hmm. Went from about here to there, over to about here. Had 3 bunks on this side, 3 bunks that way, and 2 or 3 bunks on the other side.
And that's where the officers weren't staying.
No, that's where the enlisted.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
And that's where they spent their time, the black enlisted. When after staying there for a couple of months and doing that job, the chief master at arms, now the chief master at arms is like the chief of the police, called down and wanted to talk to somebody in authority down there, and hell, I was the only guy there. I said, well, I'm your authority down here. And he said, how would you like to run the pool hall? What? I said, well, we are planning on putting a couple of you black guys in charge of the pool hall up here so that we can give them more things to do. Well, the blacks weren't going to the pool hall primarily because of the fact that there were no blacks up there, and whites didn't even want them in there. But anyway, I went up, I took over the pool hall along with another fella, and we ran it for about 4 months. We had to change the music a little bit, picked up a bunch of extra quarters in that jukebox, picked up more money for playing pool because blacks began to come into the pool hall.